Hello students. Today we are going to start with a new chapter. Chapter 8, Introduction to Economics. The chapter begins with a table. As you can see, this table has two parts, items and estimated expenditure. This is the estimated expenditure of family. Certain items and the estimated expenditure that they are incurring every month on these items. Let us see the items in detail. Daily food. They are spending 6,000 rupees on daily food. Now daily food can be milk, oil, pulses, etc. Buying 2 sets of uniform. Maybe this is the month of May or June when the school is about to begin and the children require uniforms. Also they will require school stationery, pen, pencil, cover, books, notebooks, etc. Medical expenditure. Recreation. Recreation means enjoyment. Maybe the family is spending on going to hotel, partying or buying gifts. Next item is mobile bills. 7th one, vegetables and fruits. 8th, public transport. 9th, electricity bill. 10th one, tourism. 11th one, bank installments. Maybe they have taken a loan from the bank and they have to give installments. You can see that the family is spending 22,550. Further, you will see that the family's income is just 20,000. Now if it is spending 22,550 and earning only 20,000, what about the extra 22,550? Here the situation is like Amdani Atthani Kharcha Rupaya, earning 20,000 and spending 22,550. What about that extra 2,550 that the family is going to spend? They will either have to take loan, but if they go on taking loan every month like this, soon they will become bankrupt. So this family should strike a balance between income and the expenditure. How to strike this balance? There are certain expenditure which you can cut short, which you can reduce, or you can postpone it for some other month. For example, tourism. If you are spending 4,000 on tourism, which is not required now, you can cut short this completely or keep it for some other month. Also on recreation, if you are spending 500 going out on partying, going to hotel, buying gifts, which is not at all required when you are taking loan, certain items like this can be completely cut short. Even your mobile bill, okay, you can even reduce your mobile bills. So every family manages their income. Now have you understood what is management? It is striking a balance between your income and your expenditure. Similarly, just as the family manages their finances, village, city, state, country and the world also needs to manage their economics. Okay, after having understood the above activity, that is the activity of the family where income was limited but the expenditure was more than the income, you must have realized by now that every family is managing its finances. Now financial management or family finance is nothing but managing your income and expenditure. Income, expenditure, its management are all nothing but economic factors. This leads to the birth of economics. As a student of economics, you should know the origin of the word and the meaning of the word. So students, the word economics comes from Greek word oikonomia, which means family management. The word oikonomia means family management. There is a lot of similarity between family management and economics. Now we have already seen what are ends and what are scares means. Ends means nothing but our wants. Our wants are unlimited. But the means are scarce. Scarce means less in number, limited. Students, we understand from economics how to manage time, money, labor and land effectively. Now all these factors are limited. Time is limited. For example, a day before the exam, we have a lot of portion to cover because the next morning is your paper, but a lot of portion is still pending. So how do you manage your time? Either by staying awake for a long time or getting up early. Am I right? In the same way, money. Suppose your father gives you 200 rupees as your pocket money. Now with that 200 rupees, you have to spend that 200 rupees in entire month. If it is your friend's birthday, you have to give him a gift. If it is the exam time and you require a book, you have to spend the same money in buying book. Again, you might like to have something in the canteen also. So with that 200 rupees, which is less, your ends, your wants, your needs are infinite, are many. Now let us turn our attention to labor. Labor means worker. I repeat, labor means workers. Now, let us take this simple example. Suppose the maid servant coming to your house gives a call the previous day and says the next day she is going to come only once instead of twice a day, and that too for 1 hour. Instead of coming twice in the day, she is going to come only once, and that too only for 1 hour. Now if she is sweeping the floor as well as washing the clothes and utensils in that 1 hour, how are you going to manage the labor? In that 1 hour, she cannot do all the 3 work. So some work you will have to do, or the work which you want her to do must be done first. So this is how in economics we learn how to manage labor. Let us turn our attention to land. The best example is that of Mumbai. In Mumbai the land is less, but the people staying here are many. Land might be required for building houses, factories and many other purposes. So how to manage this land? Economics will help you to effectively manage all these resources, namely time, money, labor and land. Moving further ahead, let us see the definition of economics. Student, very important definition. This is the definition according to Lionel Robbins. What does Lionel Robbins says? Economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. I repeat, economics is a science. Mind you, economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Now, ends means your needs, your wants, आपकी ज़रूरतें जो अनलिमिटेड है, जो कभी ख़त्म नहीं होती. But the resources, the means are scarce. Scarce मतलब limited, in less number. And the most important part is alternative uses. I gave you the example of money. Your pocket money is 200 rupees. It can be used for buying a book, or spending on the canteen. But with that 200 rupees, all your ends, all your wants cannot be satisfied. Either this or that, means alternative uses. Is that clear? Ends are unlimited, but the means are scarce, but these ends have alternative uses. And economics is a science which teaches you how to manage between unlimited unlimited ends and scarce resources. Is that very clear? Now, the same way a family manages its finance, we have seen that example of the family earning 20,000 and has to spend 22,500. What can be cut short to manage the economy of the family? In the same way, a village, city, state, country, and the world as a whole also have to manage the economy. Now, geographically speaking, the enterprises related to production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services in a specific region is called economy. On the global level, there are three types of economies. So, after having understood what are ends and what are means, we move ahead. Just as a family has to manage the finances, so do the villages, cities, state, countries, and the world as a whole also have to manage their economies. Geographically speaking, enterprises related to the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services in a region is called an economy. In a specific region means managing the economy of a village will be village economy. Managing the economy of a country will be the country's economy, and that of the world will be a global economy. Now let us understand what do you mean by production, distribution, and consumption. Production, to produce something, to manufacture something. Suppose you are manufacturing, say, television sets. So when you manufacture something, you are doing the work of production. Now when you have produced something, you need to distribute the same. So the TV sets that has been manufactured has to be distributed. You have to send it to the consumers. You can distribute it using transportation, through wholesalers and retailers, and so on. Now, after distributing it, it goes to the final consumer who will be using your goods. Let us take one more example. Suppose you are a farmer. You are growing food grains. So, your production will be growing food grains. Let us say rice. So, the rice that you have produced has to be distributed. The farmer will not keep whole of the rice for himself. He will be sending it to the consumer. He will be either putting it into his bullock cart or loading it on the truck and will be taking it to the market. In the market, he will be either selling it himself or he will ask some distributor to do the same. So, the work of distribution. Now, consumption. Finally, the rice that has been produced by the farmer will be consumed by the consumer, by the people like us. So, enterprise of production, distribution, and consumption in a region is called as an economy. On the global level, there are three types of economy, which is very main part of this lesson. Now, production, distribution, and consumption are very much related to this type of economies. We now come to a very important part of this chapter, types of economy. Basically, there are three main types of economies in the world: capitalistic type of economy, socialist type of economy, and mixed economy. Let us see each in detail. Capitalist economy or capitalistic economy. Here, the ownership and the management of the means of production is in the hands of private individual. It means private individual will be the owner of the means of production. They will be managing the means of production, deciding how much to produce, how to distribute, and whom to distribute. So all the decisions in this economy are taken by private individuals. The land, machinery belongs to this private individual. For example, Reliance. In Reliance, Ambanis are the owners. They will manage their resources and will be deciding how much to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Now, when you are undertaking production, of course, your main aim will be to produce, to make profit, to maximize the profit, to earn profit. You are not manufacturing anything for selling it free of cost. So, in capitalist economy, the owner will try to maximize his profit. He will be trying to produce such a good which will be sold in the market, and he will be getting the best price and the maximum profit for it. Some of the countries in the world which are capitalist are US, Japan, Germany, and also Australia. Let us move ahead to the next economy. Socialist economy. This is exactly the opposite of capitalistic economy. In capitalist economy, I have told you that private individual will be owning everything. The land, the machinery, everything belongs to the private individual. But in socialist economy, the means of production does not belong to any individual or to any private person, but it belongs to the government. It belongs to the society. Here the society means the government. So the government will be managing, will be producing, will be distributing. So what to produce, for whom to produce, how much to produce, all such decision will be taken by the government. Of course, the government will be producing not to earn profit but for social welfare, for welfare of whole of the country, whole of the nation. So in socialist economy, you will see that the main aim is social welfare, sabka fayda. Whereas in capitalist economy, profit was the main aim. Here the owner, the capitalist, the entrepreneur will be trying to maximize his profit, but he will not be looking after the social welfare. Some of the socialist countries in the world are China, erstwhile Russia. Today's present Russia is not a socialist country, but it is somewhat a mixed economy. Some other socialist countries in the world are Cuba, Vietnam, North Korea, etc. Let us move ahead to the next type of economy, and that is mixed economy. In mixed economy, there is a coexistence. Coexistence means jointly existing. Now, who are jointly existing? There will be private ownership as well as public sector. That means there will be private undertaking as well as public sector undertaking. Means there will be some sectors where private individuals will be owning the means of production, and in some sector the means of production will belong to the government. In India, as you know, the airline sector, we have Air India and Indian Airlines, which belongs to the government of India. But Vistara, Go Air, and such other airlines, they belong to the private individual. Means there is a coexistence of public and private sector. Now we all know that public sector, the main aim will be social welfare, and private sector, the main aim is profit maximization. So in mixed economy, there will be a balance between profit and in social welfare. So a balance is made between profit and social welfare. Here profit will also be earned and social welfare will also be taken care of. Countries, before that, let us see few more examples. In India, we have different SIM cards. one belonging to BSNL, MTNL, they are belonging to the public sector. But Vodafone, Idea, Jio, Airtel, they are belonging to the private sector. So your profit as well as social welfare is, the balance is made between the two. India, Sweden, UK, these are some of the countries who have adopted mixed economy. I hope this most important part is very clear to you.